Thursday afternoon chat. Your favorite artists with Jayar.
Ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome today's guest, the former professional skateboarder, Jordan Feliz. How are you, sir?
I'm here.
Thank you for taking a moment. Always enjoy having you.
Dude, I'm just blessed to be here, man. It's really
people
warm.
don't say that. They
They don't?
the label made me come is usually the line we get.
Oh,
So,
weird.
No.
Weird.
I have to start with the odd-looking green bed sheet behind us.
Okay.
Those are not blood stains. We don't know what spilled on that, but nobody's about to see that because we're gonna flip to whatever background you want. We want to give. So whenever
Okay.
whenever you and I say something funny over the next hour,
Okay. This is an hour?
well, with songs, you're like, now it's not a blessing to be here. But, when we share clips of this interview on socials, people are going to see whatever you choose behind us. So
Okay.
you've been given a massive list. What's the background you would like to have?
I'd love to be at the beach.
Okay, let's head there. Snap. There we go. Instantly, I'm feeling warmer.
I do too.
Yeah, I grew up outside of Seattle where it was a 2-hour drive to get to the Pacific Ocean. And when you live in Seattle, the Pacific, to go to the ocean, to go to the beach is... if you've never left the Pacific Northwest, you have no clue that where you grew up in Southern California, the sand gets nicer, the water gets bluer.
Yeah, it's not cold.
And yeah.
Well, it is. The water's cold. But
Outside you have to drive through where Kurt Cobain was raised in this tiny little one gas station town where it's so depressing and it rains every day. And then you get out to the ocean, you're like, oh, that's the Pacific Ocean. But if you've never been to Southern California, you think that this is incredible. And then every Seattleite has a memory of going to Disneyland and finally seeing the bluer water, and it's like, this is heaven. And you won't agree with this, but then I moved to Florida, and the water and the sand got nicer than Southern California.
Oh, no, I agree.
Okay.
I actually do agree with you.
Yeah.
I just think it's weird because the ocean is just different. It's and I actually like it better.
Yeah.
The only thing that I miss like waves.
Yeah, we don't have waves.
'Cause
in
y'all
the
don't
Gulf.
have there's not a whole lot of like actual waves.
Yeah, the east coast of Florida
So
gets
pretty, though.
waves, but
Yeah.
not Southern California waves.
Yeah.
But the sand isn't as nice on the east coast of Florida. No offense to our Port St. Lucie
Right.
and Orlando listeners, but the sand is soft. I'll compare it to sugar. Our side of Florida is powdered sugar,
Yes. I
and
agree.
the east coast of Florida is grained sugar.
Yep. I'm with
So-
you. I'm with you on that.
It's good. I like those analogies, the way they were coming out right
Me
there.
too, dude. There's a
Very
sermon in there somewhere.
All right, so we've got the beach behind us.
Okay.
I want to just say thank you. It was like meant to happen. We just went through Christmas, and for you to put out Feliz Navidad was like, finally, the guy's last name. Yes, this makes sense. Was it like a joke with the label, like, hey guys, my last name's Feliz. We got to do this at some point.
Well, okay. This has literally been discussed since like 3 minutes after I signed my name on like my contract. It was like, so when's the Christmas album happening? You know what I mean? And I haven't put out Christmas music or like done a Christmas tour or anything. And honestly, the main reason why is because
I'm Jewish. Sorry, go on.
No, I like literally love Christmas so much that I don't ever want to be gone in December. So I kind of told myself when I started touring, I was like, I'm always going to be home from December 1st till the end of December, period, you know? But then, you start get moving more. And then like this past year, it was like, you should do a Christmas record.
Yeah.
And I'm also really like picky about Christmas music because like the modern day Christmas music I'm not really a big fan of. I like a lot of like the
Bing Crosby.
And Nat King Cole and even like just like real band stuff. You know what I mean? Like and like live band in a room, like tracking. And so it was kind of cool because we actually got to do that for this record.
Right.
Like my band got to track with me. And so, and so then the big conversation was, you're going to do this song, right? And it was like, oh, no.
Yeah.
But it's actually turned out really cool.
Yeah,
like,
it's a cool, different vibe.
Yeah, I was kind of pumped because I didn't want to, I didn't
that
want to
song
like.
gets so overplayed at Christmas time that Feliciano, he's laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah.
But like Crowder covered it, and like people have covered it, but they all sound the same.
Exactly.
And you get tired of that song. So I'm glad you went a different way.
Thank you, dude.
I don't like it, but I'm glad you didn't do that.
Thank you. I'm glad you don't like it too. It's nice. It's really great to be here.
That's great. Real quick, you got little ones in the home, and I'll say, I got older teenage daughters where I said, what do you guys want for Christmas? And they're like, I don't care. I have a job, so I can pretty much buy it. It's like, I miss the days of having little kids at Christmas. It was like one of the greatest. What was something odd this past year on one of your kids' Christmas wish lists that you can think of that was like, ugh? My
son wanted a knife.
You guys hunt? Or?
No.
Oh, no.
No. So he's like, what's okay. I'm going to be honest. Like when I was a little kid, I like had a collection of like, I loved Army stuff, and it was back when, I mean, I'm going to really say my age, but Micro Machines, remember Micro Machines?
Stepping on one of those.
Dude, like I was super into that stuff. So I started collecting like kind of that whole like Army memorabilia kind of thing. So I had knives, and I remember my parents kind of being like, why do you want this? But we were literally walking around the Nashville flea market a couple weeks ago. My mom sets up shop there every once in a while with her business. And so we're just walking around supporting her, and we walk by this table with all this like Damascus steel, and my son grabs like like a machete, you know what I mean, size thing, and he's 3, and I'm like, like my wife and I both like dive over there because I'm like, dude, you're about to literally take your hand off, but ever since then he's been obsessed with knives, so that's what he wanted, and now it's kind of freaky.
Did he get the?
He did.
He did. Yeah. Okay. So who keeps this?
I didn't. Well, it's not a real knife.
Oh,
yeah, okay. Not a real one.
Not a samurai.
No,
sword.
it's a fake. It's a fake one.
Okay.
But it does have like he really wanted a sheath.
Okay.
Like, he wants to be able to
a shiv maybe
or whatever it is. You know, like it's like where you
slide it into a pocket thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he wants to connect it to his belt.
See, this is like taking that Ralphie wants a BB gun.
Yeah.
You'll shoot try out.
Yeah.
You'll.
Yeah, you're gonna. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's
That's great. I love it. I had my middle child. She was born in Nashville, and when we first moved to Florida, she wanted a broom. That was the present she wanted. Now my wife can't get any of the kids to do any chores, but she wanted a broom, and we have video of her opening up just a cheap dollar store broom, and she went nuts yelling out, "My sweep! My sweep!" and which is odd because now she just doesn't leave her room, doesn't participate in any of the household chores. But I'd never seen a kid that excited about getting a broom.
I kind of love it.
It's great.
I mean, dude, if you can teach them young.
Oh yeah, my son really got into foil balls from watching Pee-wee's Playhouse on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, I want to have a foil ball. And that was a great Christmas because we just bought foil. That was his big present.
Dude, praise God.
It was great.
Praise God, man.
Jordan Feliz is my guest, and I've never asked you this question, but because I don't remember. You're not a PK, are you?
No.
Okay. What was one of the perks of your parents' job growing up? Like my dad worked in a grocery store for 40 years.
Okay.
Boring job, hated it. That's what he did. And I got to roam the aisles of the grocery store alone at closing time.
Yeah.
And no kids got to do that,
Yeah.
Can you think of one for you?
Yeah, both my parents had pretty cool jobs. My mom sold candles. So that was kind of awesome because our house just always smelled amazing. So I'm still kind of picky with like smells and stuff now. But my dad worked at this chain out on the West Coast called Long's Drugs. And it's like, it got bought out by CVS several years ago. But
Cheddar coming.
yeah. But it was such a cool store, and they had like toys and, all kinds of stuff. But growing up, probably the sweetest part about it was that my dad, every day he'd come home from work, he'd bring me like a Hot Wheels car.
Oh yeah.
Because they were so cheap, and he would get even a discount on top of something being cheap. So he'd just bring me one, and every time like a new, like when Razor scooters came out, I had one just because they would come into the store, you know. So it was pretty lit.
Do you know that you and Tomlin have similar childhoods? His dad owned a drugstore.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Like half our playlist was raised by drugstore owners.
Man.
So who knew?
I don't know what that says, but
his was 20 years before you.
Okay.
Yeah, this was in the 60s.
Okay.
So, no, I don't know when he was born. This was in the Lyndon B. Herbert Hoover days. World War II had just ended.
Okay,
and
perfect. Perfect.
I'm gonna admit something here to you, Jordan. I have a man crush on David Beckham. Have for 10 years. One, because I'm into soccer, but two, I try to dress. Well, I'm like a Chris Farley version of David Beckham.
Okay.
And so like I follow him on Instagram. I'm like, oh, he's such a great family man, and he's with his boys, and oh, his daughter and him are on a date. I'm like, Beckham is like the coolest guy on the planet. He's a good-looking guy and all this stuff. So he's my man crush. That's not changed in 15 years. Do you have one person that you kind of have this, that's a man crush for you? Oh. We'll call it respect. We don't want it to get weird here, but yeah.
It got a little weird there.
It did.
Yeah.
It was a little bromance.
But I like it.
I became an Inter Miami fan, and
it's great.
My son was there to watch soccer. I was there to try to get.
You got the tats too, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you got it. You just need to get like some on the hands. No.
I keep finding that the difference between he and I is you can't change the fact that somebody's good looking or not good looking. So I can do my hair like him, I can dress like him, no matter what it is. But he's just good looking and I'm not. Oh so I always go up to a line where I'm like, it just falls short. Like my son takes a picture of Cristiano Ronaldo into the barber.
Yeah.
And says, make me look like him. And it never works out. And I'm like, son, you are not from Portugal.
Yeah.
There's always going to be a place where you can only go so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you think of one for you? Pro skateboarder.
I'm trying to think. I mean, probably the closest person is probably Ryan Tedder, I'd probably say.
One Republic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's just a great songwriter and stuff. But outside of that, like, the only other person that I probably have, like, a hero in is this guy named Candid Thovex. He's a pro skier.
Okay.
But he's not, like, a good-looking dude. Okay, so it's not really a man crush as much as I just love, like, he's changed a lot of, like, the free skiing community.
Yeah.
Like, and I grew up doing a lot of that. So.
Right.
And like his writing is just like insane. Like it's just mind blowing. So those would be the two people.
Would you ever pursue? Have you ever met Ryan?
Not yet.
Okay.
I say not yet because I really hope someday we get to meet.
That's good. That means it's a solid man crush.
Yeah.
You know, Ryan Tedder had a man crush on Toby Mac.
I know.
Yeah.
And Toby knows Ryan.
Okay.
I have not yet to call in that favor yet.
Right.
But yeah.
Toby can hook you up because I am a huge Nate Bargatze fan, the comedian.
Okay.
And Toby got me to meet Nate Bargatze. So Toby is the guy to go through to get One Republic.
Yeah. Well, here's the deal. If I ever come in that situation, I'll be like, I'll have to text and be like, dude, how can we do this?
Right. Except where does he live? SoCal? Ryan?
Tedder? Yeah.
Okay. So the chances.
It's a little
unless you've got a show in Southern California.
So we played one on Hits Deep, and I low-key was like really hoping he'd show up. But it's all good.
Because Ryan is a DC Talk fan because he grew up in that era.
Yep.
So he's,
I actually heard a story that he told Toby that he would produce a DC Talk record if they ever did another one.
Oh, wow. Like, one of the best songwriters in the world, Ryan.
Yeah, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, you should do it.
Yeah. Toby's good in his own right, but I'd take Ryan Tedder over.
Dude, well, I mean, they're both, like, goats.
Oh,
so
yeah.
You're like, I can't even imagine what you guys would come up with.
Oh, yeah. That's great. Jordan Feliz, my guest today. Big spring tour with Matthew West. There's a lot of hits between you and Matthew in one. I know he's like captain songwriter, but you've had a very nice last 5 years worth of songs that we've played like crazy. So that's a nice little run.
Thank you, dude.
But do you have a pre-show tradition or ritual that some might find odd? Like the example I give is the Need to Breathe guys. Bear has a breathing problem, and they found this wood in South Africa. It's the only thing that keeps him from having this cough attack. And so pre-show, they have to light up this wood so it can get in his lungs. That's a weird one. But
is that real?
Yeah.
I didn't know you were making that
up. They have to bring that in.
Really?
Yeah, that certain wood. So do you have one that obviously is not that odd, but something you do every time that's...
Man, it's more of like a headspace thing for me. Like, I had a lot of vocal issues when I started touring because I just had never sang that much in my life. Yeah. And so really a lot of vocal coaches call it placement, but I literally do really weird, loud exercises, but I don't do them. A lot of vocalists do them before they walk on stage. I do them right before I walk on stage. Okay. So I have to have my in-ears in and hear my voice through the microphone, like super loud. Yeah. I guess that's probably the weirdest part about it.
Is it weird sounds, or is it like, I think Matt Maher does like something like he goes like back of throat weird stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's all that stuff and like different pronunciation of like vowels and stuff. Yeah. Like
Silly Sally slides sideways on Saturday.
Yeah, and it's like all annoying sounds like you know, and you're like, oh, like, but I don't know why it like helps for me to hear it like really loud in my ears because it makes me feel like it's there.
Do you have to get a private room, or do you just like
no, I
swallow
actually
your
do.
pride?
What's probably the worst part about it is my entire band. This is like right before walking on stage, so everybody's got their like mixes and stuff, and I'm just backstage just screaming. Yeah, and they're like, "Oh gosh,
Silly Sally,
Jordan, stop."
Jordan, what would your wife say is your worst fault? Like the thing that you need to work on the most, if she was grilled privately, that she would admit. If you have one.
Yeah,
maybe you don't.
No, I for sure do. She would probably just tell me that, like, just like any other dude, that I inherently try to fix things instead of just listening. You know?
Yeah.
That's probably what she would tell me.
Which is that's very normal.
Yeah. Like, I'm like a natural, like, dude of just
what is the problem?
Yeah. Let me
let's go fix it.
Let's solve the problem so we can move past it. Whereas, 90% of the time, my wife wants nothing to do with me fixing it. She just wants me to be there and listen to her and hear her out.
Oh yeah.
And it's hard to do that because especially when, and we've had this discussion too of like, and I'm sure every married couple has, but it's like, well, tell me that, but if you don't have a solution, at least let me like. That's like, it's like having an itch that you never get to scratch. I'd love to be a part of fixing it, you know? And my wife is so awesome. Like she totally understands my perspective too. And I understand hers, but I think we've been married for 10 years and it's still like when she comes to me and brings something to me, I'm always like, be quiet. Just be quiet. Just hear her out, and then you can speak. Like, just be quiet. Yeah. So,
2022 in your we'll end on this. 2022 in your calendar. I use a paper day planner. Okay. Most people use a Google Calendar. But in what is...
Paper day.
It's because
like
it's over there. Do you see it?
I know. I love it. It's
and
nice.
That's 2 years worth right there. Okay. But I can see the week, and, things get moved.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm going here, and, that got canceled.
Yeah.
I don't have to go. It's old school, but it works for me.
I actually dig it.
Yeah.
I'm for it.
2022 for you, just sitting right here, what is the thing you're most excited about at some point this year between now and New Year's Eve that you already know is coming?
I've kind of got a lot that I'm excited about. Yeah. It's hard
Touring.
to narrow it down. Touring.
11th anniversary with your wife.
That's a big one, too. Yeah, so, this year we didn't get to do our 10-year anniversary like we wanted to, so we are going to do something actually kind of really cool next year, to like kind of like celebrate, I guess. But also, like, my favorite song that I've ever released is on radio, so that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
So that's like super fun, and I'm really excited about it. Yeah. So Jesus is Coming Back is like this song that I just am super, super passionate about, and I think it's really timely for where our world is and where the church is and all this stuff. So that's a big one. And it's also, it's ski season.
Yeah.
And like January through March I have off, so I'm gonna go try to like
There you go.
live in the snow somewhere.
Yeah, for sure.
And touring, dude, I'm so excited for touring this year. Lots of changes in my camp.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of stressful, but like kind of exciting too,
Right.
I guess. Just like, I've had 3 of like my best friends in my camp have all kind of been praying for the last 2 years about if this is like where God is going to keep them. And I mean, one of them is being called into a pastoral position at a church, and a couple others are being called into other things. And so that's kind of exciting because, I mean, really, they're like some of my closest friends in the world. So you're excited for them just to see how God uses them in things, and then how he fills those voids in what I'm doing too. So it's just, I'm pumped. 2020, I think 2022 is going to be really good for everybody. I think the last 2 years have been
awesome. Some of my favorites.
You know, it's weird because like, yeah, it's been crazy. 2020 was weird.
Yeah.
But it was also, dude, like, and I know this sounds so bizarre. I mean, because I mean, dude, I've literally, like, I've lost family. I've had family lose jobs, businesses. But somehow everybody in my family is closer. You know, like, we're all closer. We're all healthier. Like, even though we went through like this really crummy situation, like, we're all like doing like better as humans. You know, maybe like, oh, you know, you're not making as much money, or just stuff that's so insignificant, but like us, like, we are better, you know?
Yeah, like the fat got cut. And
but also got fed too, because COVID, you know.
Yeah, anything that was surfacey, anything kind of got cooked off, and like, okay, my faith, you got to reevaluate your faith,
bro.
What's my priorities, and everything was like, okay, let's come into this closer circle of who I am. Yeah,
dude. And 2021 has been really difficult too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like 2020 was hard because it was just shut down. 2021 still feels like there's still like a little bit of like this shutdown feeling, but you're trying to get back to normal. So I think 2022, I mean, it's a long way of saying it, but I think it's just going to be a year of getting us back on, of getting us back on track, man.
Yeah.
And like seeing some really beautiful things and kind of seeing the fruit of like what we've really been sowing the last 2 years in ourselves. So
you've got a new song that is out. Jesus is Coming Back.
Yeah.
Can you just walk me up DNA of where this tune came from?
We wrote this song at the beginning of 2019, so before everything that's happened in the last couple years. But really, like, this song is really just all about something that the church, and I feel like a lot of people view as being maybe something that might be a little bit scary or nerve-wracking, which is like the return of Jesus. But really, it's something that we can celebrate and rejoice in and find hope in. And I think this this song, it's like, you know, the lyric in the chorus is keep your head up because Jesus is coming back. And when the world gets complicated, we're going to keep on celebrating because we know Jesus is coming back. And I think just in the midst of all of our problems and the weight and the largeness of certain things and scenarios for certain people, you know, everybody's going through different things, and their problems look, whether it's really massive or it could be really small, but you don't know. But one thing that we can just, again, find that hope and that truth in is that we believe that Jesus is coming back, and that we're gonna close out eternity with him, you know. And it's just kind of one of those songs that I feel like is really timely for the season we're in right now. Because I think we're living in a world that's very like, there's high highs and low lows. You know what I mean? But for believers, we really do have that truth to hold on to, and that reminder just feels really sweet.
As we part, I was just wondering if, as a lead vocalist, all the artists have been, because our listeners know your voice more than they know the name.
Yeah, totally.
And so I'm having, just so when I play a Jordan Feliz song this year, just to be able to have your voice saying the Jayar Show in song form. However you want to do that, if you want to toy around with the Jayar Show, just with your Jordan Feliz sound, singing the phrase the Jayar Show, so I can play it over one of your songs throughout the year.
Okay.
It'd be jazz. You can do any kind of. Take
oh
it
gosh,
you want.
The Jayar Show, the Jayar Show.
Hey, thank you for the time.
Dude.
Awesome things coming for you this year. A tour, the new song, and always enjoy sitting down with you.
Bro, thank you so much, man.
The Thursday Afternoon Chat. Your favorite artists with Jayar.